Hello everyone, and welcome to the Deep Blue Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deep Blue Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 145. Today is Sunday, August 21st, 2016, and I'm glad you could join me today. So, coffee outside. It should be criminal to not be outside today, so really gorgeous out. I was actually outside trying to do all of my stash totals, so it appears that I have done a record Molly showing for stash, so I managed to get 8,190 meters, which is a huge surprise to me. What is it? Unfortunately, my surprise finishes were actually due to the fact I had to take a couple of days off this week and actually go to my grandmother's funeral. So that was a real big bummer. And actually, what's behind me on the chair is her last project, which is on the needles, unfinished, missing yarn. And since I am the only knitter in the family, I'm the one who ended up taking that back. So I'm gonna find some way to finish it, despite the fact the yarn has been discontinued. But yeah, so she went the way she wanted, surrounded by family with the DNR. So she, but it is quite sad that she ended up passing. So I was sort of debating whether or not to even record today, and I was like, you know what, forget it, I'll just do it anyways. So this is really strange, but I actually have nothing on the needles aside from that shawl, which I'm not even sure it really counts as being on the needles for me. I have intentions, but maybe I'll talk about those a little bit later. So what I finished yesterday on the plane flight back from North Carolina was my cranberry biscotti socks. They are delightfully fraternal, so one of them I use this variegated as the cuff and toe and the gray as the heel, and this other one I use the gray for the cuff and toe and the variegated for the heel. The only mishap I ran into was on the second sock. I ran out of my green, but I just sort of subbed in another yarn and called it good. And you can't even really tell, because that's the way this pattern goes, is that it does a really good job of mixing up yarns together. So this qualified for a couple of knit-alongs, so it qualified for the sock knitters put your best foot forward cow, so I'm re-knitting the cranberry biscotti pattern, this time correctly. It counts for the stockinette zombie scrappy happy cow, so I have 5 different scraps incorporated into these socks, which is cool, and it turned out to also be basically 100 grams as well, so plenty. And they're for me, they fit good. I started weaving in the ends because I had no knitting with me and I was sort of stranded. Well, not really stranded, but it was the case where I finished these while waiting for the airport shuttle bus to come pick us up to bring us back to our car. So there was quite whatever, so that was funny. Of the original yarns, which I started this project in Germany, of the original yarns I still have a little itsy bitsy bit of my MCN, a little itsy bitsy bit of the gray, and that was interesting using the gray. A decent-ish size ball of the Learners laces, that might end up being used to make, replacement, what are words escaping me, if I need to have leaders for my bobbins on the spinning wheel. And then the hot socks, this ball just keeps giving. It's definitely a lot less than when I'd started. I think I'd used a little bit of this ball, so that was the primary one I was trying to use up. So not too bad. I think I have like 22 grams of leftovers. And I swear I weighed each ball individually and wrote it down, and I couldn't find it anywhere, so I don't know if I erased that note or something, because whatever, I have my iPhone notes, that sort of thing. But I swore I had taken or kept track of it all, but I couldn't find it anywhere, so I had to go off of what totals I had written before. But knowing my OCD tendencies, I think it's okay. So done like dinner. So that was a good project to work on. It was nice and mindless. And a rather enjoyable knit. And it's just fun to start combining all of those colors together. Some surprise things. The other thing that I ended up finishing was the Color Affection. So this is a big monster. So this is ridiculously huge. Sorry, my husband is pulling irrigation line. If you hear a strange squeaking noise. And I ended up running out of the Sunday Unverricht and the Lavendel, so I ended up incorporating a little bit of Grand Mir into the last two rows because I hadn't finished doing the sharp rows after running out. So that was just a little bit, so it just makes it a little bit darker, and actually the transition to the border is a little bit more subtle. And then as I was binding off, I ran out of the Sundig and Verricht and then used the Grand Mir for about half the bind off. But since it's a really close color match, I'm not too worried about it. So it'd be the case where there's bits of that color in the colorway anyway, so I figured that was going to be fine. So it's just a little bit thick in one spot for the bind off, and I'll have to trim that when the time comes. But definitely nice and asymmetric. Real, like, this is ridiculously big shawl. So here is the 2-color portion. You can see the 3-color portion fetchingly building off the bottom there, and then most of this end is actually the 3-color portion. You can see the weakness of the way you pass the yarn is resulting in it being a little bit scrunched here. And I still need to actually sit down and wash this guy, but I'm just gonna let it be the way it is. So it's a little bit shorter on this end, but since it's not even close to symmetric, I think that ends up working out great. But really happy with how it turned out. It's definitely the only example that I could find of incorporating the variegated yarn into it, and so it makes for a really graphic knit. It makes me want to have more of the Sunday Verricht for myself because it is all gone. I was hoping there'd be like a little bit left so I could make maybe some scrappy socks or something like that, but I had so little left. It's like like this is how much of this I have, so I have about 21 grams of this left, and really gorgeous. The little less than a gram of Lavendel, which wasn't enough to do another pair of rows, and then this was the Grand Mir I pulled out of the stash. So they aren't a color match, but they're both purples, and I figured it was going to be close enough, and I think in the finished product it really doesn't show that much, so I'm going to go with it. I decided to compromise with color of yarn instead of compromising on finishing off the pattern, so let's see. So not too much left of that, so I ended up using about half an ounce of the purple actually, so I was surprised at how much of the grand mirror I needed in order to finish it. So it was a little bit, I think it was like 350 meters for the socks, and then it was, what would that be? It ended up being 1,400 meters for the shawl. It turns out there isn't a category in Stash Dash for 8,000. I thought there was, but whatever. So that means that really I just ended up getting comfortably into, what is it? So because of that, I ended up just getting the 7,000 meter mark. So I need to take a picture of the shawl, and then I'll have all my pictures ready to go and good for that. So that was cool. Obviously I feel like I should have hives or something because I don't have anything on the needles and it is nearly 4 o'clock. I did wind something though. And I'll have to do a little bit of searching too, because, or what would it be? So things that are probably going onto the needle soon, maybe this one probably deserves a rewind because it looks like it's barfing a little bit. But this is Madeline Tosh Merino Light in the Cobalt colorway, and I'm going to be making a shawl for my aunt with this. So even though right now it's actually in the 80s today, which is so weird. That's really weird for Texas in August. But I need beads for it. And I'll have to take it to the bead store and contemplate and that sort of thing. So this probably won't be going on the needles until at least Tuesday, because we'll figure something out and I'll rewind the ball. The other thing is, now that I'm done traveling, is I'm actually gonna break out my signatures for the first time. So I ended up pulling out some yarn in my stash that has been marinating there for a long time. I'm like, you know what? Now's the time. Go for it. So I'm going to be making a pair of socks for the Dear Sweet Lovable one. So these ones are both 125 yard skeins, so they're pretty short. So what I'm going to do is augment them with the black. So do black toes, cuffs, and heels. And because they have bits of blue and red and brown in them, and it appears, based on when I was scanning it up, I was wondering whether or not it was hand spun or not, but actually I just think it's hand dyed yarn. So this is yarn I ended up, I think it was a prize. I got it from Chinchilla's 1957, and she actually recently reopened her shop under a new name. And the 57 is still in the title. I'll have to look up what the new shop is, but it'd be the case where, so she's back into making bats and brightly colored things and that sort of thing. So I think I can get a pretty decent pair of socks out of these. The Dear Sweet Lovable asked if they were going to be ridiculous patterns. I'm like, I don't have the headspace for it right now. So these are going to be my trial for the signature needles. So haven't cast it on quite yet. I thought they were downstairs, and turns out they're upstairs, so I'll have to go fetch them. So that should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to using this because they're definitely my colors too, so oh well. Lots of socks to be had. But I had to laugh a little bit because I think I was feeling like I was so far from being done from projects that I wouldn't be having a project to refresh so soon. I suppose probably the next thing I'd like to think about would be just making sure I start a sweater early enough that it can actually use it when it's worth wearing sweaters. So, so I have a couple of sweater quantities rolling around in the stash, and I think I'm getting the itch to what is it, figure out which one I want to make. I don't know if it'd be the case. So I have, I think I have a Dree, which is a DK, which maybe I'm not quite in the mood for yet. I have Rolling Rock, which is in a really, really gorgeous blue. And that's a sport weight sweater, and probably leaning that direction. And then the mini dress. And I have some interesting handspun plans for that, I think. So that's sort of where I'm feeling right now. So I think I have 3 colors of handspun that would look really cool in that, as sort of a lighter weight yarn for those. So that's sort of the vague plans right now. Figure out where to put all of this stuff around me. So the other thing that I wanted to show you was, what is it? My brother was visiting Croatia, and trying to figure out some cool gifts for me, and he ended up giving me a set of hand warmers and a hat from Croatia. So I just had to show this off for you guys. It turns out they have like all of the yarn content on the thing, so mixture, mostly cotton, and crazy fun fur. But this was from Cool Knitwear, so cotton, acrylic, polyamide, wool, and then a little bit of merino and viscose, but I just had to show off the slouchy hat option with the wristers. So, so definitely hand knit. There are a lot of actually nice little details in these guys, but just basically a simple ribbing pattern with twisted rib at the whatever the places where you wanted it to be tighter, like the brim of the cap, and pom-pom. So maybe not my usual style, but I definitely appreciate the thought from him. So interesting, knitting from around the world. I also ended up getting a cashmere wrap, like a woven wrap from Dubai, so in blue and purple, obviously. So I also managed to get some spinning done, mostly airport spinning, but moving along for sure. So this is the Pigeon Roof Studios. This is the 70% superfine merino, 30% silk blend, and some gorgeous purpley colors. And it feels like I'm getting a pretty decent chunk of spinning done. I'm sort of curious at this point though how much fiber I actually have, so I'm gonna weigh it quick. Now that I'm done doing all my gram weighing. So it's really gorgeous. It has like sections of brown, magenta, a blue, purple, and then white sort of as a palette cleanser. Alright, we're back in ounces, so I'm just sort of curious how far I am. Gently pile it all on. So I have 3.4 ounces left. I'm pretty sure I started with 4, but it wasn't like I weighed it either. I guess I could do the inverse. So they're so kind to actually write down how much the spindle weighs and that sort of thing. So I'm at 1.356, so yeah, I'm about right there. So my spindle is 0.59 ounces, so not quite an ounce in. at this point. Definitely been enjoyable so far to spin, and probably requires more time over target for success. Now that I'm not having, or what is it, feeling like I need to be as productive with knitting, maybe it makes sense to carry it around and work on it in some, or carry it around in my bag instead of having it languish at home. The other thing that I'm curious about is I'm finishing up my 8-ounce spin of the fiber optic. I am now pretty solidly into dark purple, heading towards the dark blue here. Oh, this is gorgeous. So, just sort of curious where I am here too. So, put that in. Apparently I'm only an ounce in. I guess I wasn't as close as I thought I was to finishing the spin, so oh well. So as you can see, so this is fiber optic, which is Timber Bobbin Designs, and I already have the first bobbin spun, working on the second. So again, I'm guessing my halfway point is probably about here. And it's not like I spent a ton of nights working on it either, so that's not a big deal. But we can bring the wheel into view. So, got this rose color in here, this regular purple, and now I'm into the dark purple here, filling up the bobbin. It's a little bit lumpy because I've been spinning in the dark. So, nice chill way to end the day, and I've actually been doing a little bit of spinning in the morning before heading to work, and then a little bit of spinning after dinner or while watching like a TV show or something like that. So, making steady progress on that now that the soul-sucking silk spin is over. Oh man, that was so much. So that's continuing along. What would that be? So that's supposed to be my March. The Pigeon Roof Studios is my April. So I probably am going to be, hitting the spinning hard, just because I'm trying to get all the, I don't know whether or not I should put pressure on myself or not to finish my bin, or to withdraw from the use it or lose it, because at this point there's an awful lot that isn't spun yet, so I'll have to maybe see if I can do a couple of entries in a month and figure out which way I'm going to go, because there are several really nice things in there that I would like to get around to. What would it be? So what is it? So I have my 3 bumps of Nest, I have 2 bumps of Western Sky Knits, I have 2 of Into the World, which I think I was planning on doing like a combo spin with that for whatever reason. The one I probably don't care too deeply on, which is actually pretty close to the colorway of the socks I'm starting, is my Malabrigo fiber, which I just put in there because I need to be. And then I think I have a bat, which they're separated into 3 different bumps, so I was thinking that was going to make a really cool sock yarn spin, but that takes time. So, are those all the remaining things? I think, because it should be about a braid a month, and I just put in some nice stuff in order to spin, so that'd be the case where it seems like I have an awful lot of intended spinning, so figuring out how I want to navigate that exactly. Because what is it? So I am like 3/4 of an ounce in. after about a month, so seems like I'm going a little slow. But yeah, I'll have to figure that out. I'm not sure. I haven't decided. So I'm guessing the odds are poor that I'll be able to finish the fiber optic for next week, but I don't know, perhaps there'll be nothing finished because I'm going to be back on a new rule. Nah. Such is life. So, oh wait, there was one more thing I wanted to talk about. I was just rambling. I did get a Nest Fiber Club update, so this is going to be coming in monthly. And what I got this time was the colorway Eminar, which is an 80/20 merino silk, if we could prevent the shine. So it has oranges, like a powder pink, sort of a regular sort of pink, some reds, and browns. So very much so the Jennifer of Nest's color aesthetic. So not quite sure when this is going to be on here. It's quite possible, just because of how much orange is in it, that I might end up putting in a pretty stash. Not sure. What would it be? Sometimes it can be quite surprising how things end up turning out, so who knows. But what is it? And I recognize, as a lover of blue, that having something be orange is helpful. So who knows? So outside of my normal color preference, but we shall see. So I should be able to record next week. Shouldn't be any craziness there. And actually it'll probably be on the Saturday instead of the Sunday, so that would be the 27th. And I don't think there's anything else I want to talk to you guys about. So with that, I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I look forward to talking to you guys next week. So take care, guys. Bye-bye.